I guarantee you'll at least learn one thing in this video that'll make you a smarter sports bettor. I'm Dante, I run Dante's Data, where we find the most consistent players and teams across all sports every single day, that way you do not have to guess. Today I'm going to go over my 5 pillars to find plus EV sports betting props. Okay, and in this example we're going to use 14.5 points, we'll use basketball, and we're going to use 14.5 points as the line. So any above 14.5, 15 or more, that'd be the over, 14 or less would be the under. So we're going to look at streaks. We're going to look at this player. Over the last 10 games, have they hit 14.5 points? So let's say we look, and over the last 10 games, they've hit 14.5 points, so 15 or more points, in 9 out of their last 10 games. So that already is starting to check box 1. We just want to make sure, have they hit this line consistently over sample size of games, 5, 10, 15, 20 games. But just because they've hit it recently does not tell the whole story at all. So we want to look, how does this player play it at home versus the road? So we're going to look at the last 10 home games. Let's say over the last 10 home games, 10 out of 10, they hit this prop. So then let's say we want to look at their last 10 away games. Let's say the last 10 away games, they've only hit this line in 6 of their last 10. Now, if this player was playing on the road, we might want to avoid that. But let's say in this case, they're playing at home and they've hit it their last 10. So that checks that box. Now, we want to always check this because certain players play better at home compared to the road, and certain players play better on the road compared to home. I would say more players play better at home compared to the road, but there are players, for whatever reason, they play much better on the road than at home. I don't know if they got some girls sitting in the stands, or in WNBA got some dudes coming to check them out in different cities or what. But for whatever reason, there are some players that play way better on the road. Now, number 3 is weak defense. Is this a good matchup for them? So in Dante's Data, we look at player stats, rankings per position per stat. So for example, 14.5 points. Let's say we're looking at a point guard. What we do in Dante's Data is we find not teams that what they rank on giving up points overall to any position, not just centers, small forwards. We do it by position. So we have the rankings for point guards, teams, what the ranking worst to best, they give up points to point guards. So in this case, let's say they're ranked 28th. So they're ranked 28th defense, which means they are towards the back half of the league when it comes to defending point guards and giving up points. But if they were, let's say, 3rd in the league, we might want to avoid that matchup because it might be more of a difficult matchup for them. But in this case, let's say that they are 28th ranked defense, and we can check that box and move on to pillar number 4. So just because they've hit their streaks in their last 10, they're good in their position, whether home or road, and they're facing a good defense, we still need to look at another thing, which is their matchup history versus this team. So we're going to look over the last 5 to 10 games versus their opponent. So let's say versus this opponent, we check, and this opponent has played this team 8 times. And of that, in 7 of 8 matchups, they went over 14.5 points. All right, so this verifies this. They have not only done it in the last 10 games, they've not only done it home and road, they are facing a favorable matchup, and they've proven that they can do it versus that matchup in the past. Now we need to move on to step number 5, pillar number 5, which is lineup. So we're going to look at a few things. We're going to look at injuries. This player could be a bench player and a starter's out, and they're going to get more minutes this game compared to normal. But then also they could be in a spot where they've been hitting this line consistently, but they're not normally a starter. They've been a starter this season because of an injury, but that starter's returning and their minutes might drop. So that's another thing, you need to verify. This isn't as big in basketball, but other sports, especially football and baseball, the weather. That's going to be very important. Is it windy? Because if it's windy, there's wind going on. That's definitely going to affect football, baseball. It's going to affect the ball, how it travels. Is it wind and rain? If it's raining too, now we have a whole nother factor that can affect this game. We need to verify that this makes sense. Another thing to consider is travel. Did this player, are they playing at home, but they're an East Coast team and they're coming off a West Coast road trip where their clock's messed up and they're still catching up on sleep. That could be something that could affect things. Or they're playing on the road and they're coming from home and they're traveling across the country real far and just had a game the night before. That could be another situation they could be in. So we need to at least pay attention to this stuff and be aware of it, so that way we know the whole picture of everything. So let's say they check this box, there's nothing concerning there, and they check pillar number 5. As soon as we check all 5 and get our 5th pillar, this is a good enough play to move forward on. We have verified that the streaks are good. We have verified that they're good at home or away, whatever position they're in. We verified that they're playing a good matchup on defense. We verified that actual matchup, that team that they play, not only are they favorable in terms of their defensive ranking, but they also have done it in the past versus this team. And then lastly, we want to verify the lineup, whether injuries, travel, and make sure that there's nothing there that's going to mess up anything in our play. So after we verified that this player has done it recently in the last 5, 10, 20 games, we verified that they're in a good spot, whether home or road, they play well there. We've identified weak defensive matchup or a favorable defensive matchup on the team they're playing. We've verified that they've done it versus this opponent. They've got a good matchup history versus this opponent and have proved to have done it in the past. Sorry, I can't talk today. And then number 5, we verify that injuries, weather, and travel, there's nothing there of concern. And as long as we check all these 5 boxes, this ends up being a good play. And in this case, we would be taking the over 14.5 points. Now, in this case, it could be an alternate, and we find 3 players, 2 to 3 of these players in these spots that check all 5 boxes that we pair together for round even odds. We'll do that a lot inside Dante's data to find these favorable spots. So if you want to get these hit rate sheets and even more tools to help you identify these spots, make sure to check out the links in the description. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below. See you guys in the next one.